my chin forward and bumped my knee. Oh, on the table. Oh my god, okay, so that's one way to start this. Woo. Right. Hi there. I am Chiziana. And I'm gonna be showing you today how to edit your selfies in Photoshop. And see, it took me about a week of doing this over and over again to kind of figure out how I want to do it, because the one thing is that one side of it is to just kind of naturally edit it a little bit and put a filter on, which is what some people would want to see. And then there's the other side of it, which is like go crazy, just go fucking ham. And so I decided to do a little bit of both. Okay. We're going to do this in 3 steps. We're going to start by just retouching my skin and brightening up a few things, smoothing the skin, and just doing some natural retouching things. Stuff that you can do just by itself on a picture of yours. And that by itself should already do the thing. Then the second step is going to be, 4 steps. Sorry. I'm going to correct myself there, 4 steps. The second step is going to be makeup. And, I'm going to probably change my eye color. Or make my eyes, way crazy. And then the part 3 is going to be, I'm going to paint my hair in. Just paint brand new hair on for myself. And then part 4 will be the finishing touches and filters. Okay, so basically, if you don't want to do any crazy shit, only watch part 1 and part 4. But if you want to do some crazy shit, because see, the thing is, I feel like people know my selfies are edited when they're edited, so why try and imitate something that I can do with it taking a picture if I'm going to be putting the effort into photoshopping something? I'm going to go crazy, if you catch my drift. So let's start. So first things first is we're going to create a new canvas, because I like starting things on my own canvas and copying things over there, just starting on a new document and not editing the picture itself on it, because this picture is probably set to a very low DPI, even though so I want to make it as good as I can, as high quality as I can. So, but I want to keep the dimensions. So in other words, these things of this image. So to create keep the dimensions but up the DPI, I'm going to say Control A, Control C. Control A selects your entire canvas. Control C copies to clipboard. Then you'll see when you say create a new item under file, you'll see clipboard. And this is, see, it's a very low PPI. So I want to up that PPI to 300, like those things, because I like working on 300 clearly. If you look at my recent items, you'll see. So we're going to keep that dimension, but we're just going to make this the resolution. See, the dimension and resolution, that's the two things. Okay. So we're going to up the resolution to 300, and we're going to create a new thing. And on the new thing, we say Control V to paste. There we go. In the next video, I want to keep this one as simple as I can, because we're starting to learn something new now. So for the people that I'm teaching, so I'm not going to show you how to cut this out just yet, because I know there's people listen, and if anybody comments on this saying, oh, but quick selection is good, you must just know how to use the mask fucking thing and what. No, fuck off. No. I will not teach you any other way but the pen tool way. I'm sorry, I don't I just don't. I'm a photo manipulator, and it breaks my brain to not always do something and with the most control I can have over the thing that I'm doing. And quick selection just doesn't give me that control, where pen tool does. So, but pen tool is a long and tedious process, so we'll get there eventually. But for today, we're just gonna edit this picture. Okay, so let's first make a copy of this, and we're gonna start with first things first, which is obviously these fucking spots that are everywhere. So we're obviously gonna oh, I need to get a, like, I said this in the stream where I showed this whole thing also, and this image also. I need some kudos for showing my face like this on a video and being like, oh yeah, it's okay, don't worry, we'll edit it and we're gonna Photoshop it. Haters are gonna hate so much. So what I selected is the okay, let me just click on it for you, spot healing brush tool, right, top one. And I'm just you use the same keyboard shortcuts that you would make your brush larger and smaller with, to make this thing, the radius of this brush smaller and bigger as it is a brush. Still, you will see on my screen it says N and M, because that is what my keyboard shortcuts is. But you shouldn't pay too much attention to the keyboard shortcuts I use, as I have changed my keyboard shortcuts over the years so much. There's some keyboard shortcuts that I override to have the ones that I have right now. For instance, Control Q usually is the keyboard shortcut to quit the program without saving, I think, to just like force quit. But mine is Gaussian blur. Like, it's, yeah, because why do I want to exit the program? Like, why would I want a fucking possibility that I can close my fucking whole project without saving? And no, that just sounds like a bad idea, because you'll probably see somewhere throughout this video that I press random buttons by accident while trying to like use a certain shortcut, like Control F. When I'm doing the one step, I accidentally press Control F quite often. I need to change that out so that something more, I don't know, useful is on that somehow. Ramblings of a mad artist, telling you some interesting things. Well, or not really interesting, but just, yeah, while we're doing this, I might replace the audio in these parts with just some musics and like fast forward for you through it. That's a possibility. We could do that. I might, yeah. Okay, so, or I could talk about interesting things. I have so many interesting things I could talk about, but it might even more than sound like the ramblings of a mad artist. So with little hairs like that, you don't want to. You'll very quickly see. It's hard sometimes for me to explain in words exactly what a tool does. It's easier for me to kind of show you and then have you experiment on your own and just get to know it, because I'm a very visual person and not a very literal person. However, I'm learning to be more literal. It's a lifelong journey. So yeah, you'll see. Just want to get rid of some of these small little hairs. Every hers. And then, yeah, you don't want to take out too much of the texture, just like the bumps and lumps. And we don't care about the color, the discoloration right now. The discoloration we take out in the next step. Yeah, within each part of this video, like part 1, 2, 3, and 4, within each part there's going to be a multitude of steps. So I will put time markers in, even if I just do it in the description for you, so that if you do want to skip some of the parts, because I do think each part might be a bit lengthy. I wanted to do it in a few different videos, but you know, then it's just all over the place, and then people only see the one and they don't ever see the others. And I would like everything to be accessible easily, you know, one video. Okay, I think that's that for making your skin a bit smoother. Just a tad bit, like just getting the blemishes away, like the spots itself, little veins, little hairs everywhere. Okay, so let's see. I love going back and forth often to just keep an eye on my progress. Oh, that's good. Okay, so the next layer is gonna be to smoothen out the color. Okay, so first we're gonna do a separate frequency separation step. I call it a step because it's not just a filter. You'll see. Okay, so firstly you have to, I will add a link in the description to the video that explains frequency separation and gives you the direct download link, or the link to the download for where you can find this action and download it for free. It is from a site called Phlern, Phlern, EARN, and PHLEARN. Yeah, there we go, Liana. Okay, so it is by Phlern, and they taught me how to do this. So I'll add a link to the video, and then you can go check it out. Like, I don't want to take any credit away from them for that, because I didn't figure this out by myself at all. I can't take any credit for it. I just want you to open your actions window, right? I want to put it there though. Okay, and in your actions, have I downloaded it to this? Would you look at that? Alright, so I haven't been working on my PC lately, like since I formatted it. I've been working only on my boyfriend's PC, so I realized I didn't have it installed yet, but I do now. And you guys microphone and everything. So okay, let's go. Yeah, let's just do this. So what you want to do with this blur section, well, go look at the tutorial that I linked, but if I understand it correctly, you want to blur it just up to the point where the skin is completely blurred, like, but you should still be able to kind of see your like features. So not too blurred, but kind of blurred. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, and then we're gonna go stand on the bottom one, and let's see what my shortcuts are. Ah, my shortcuts are correct. Thank fuck. Okay. Seeing as how that wasn't set up, I was like, okay, how much exactly have I set up? Jeez, okay, but the shortcut is set up correctly. So you're going to go to your little lasso there. You're going to select the area that you want to kind of even the skin tone in. And we're going to feather it by at least 25 pixels, if I remember correctly. How you mask your selection is by just pressing Q. And okay, that was without any. Okay. That was without any feathering. So let's just see how this looks. Yeah, 25 pixels. So you want to feather it with 25. About if your size of your image is the same as mine. And then I'm going to say Control Q, because Control Q for me is Gaussian blur. And that's what we're going to just do. That's the whole thing of this process, this step, is just selecting areas and Gaussian blurring them, so that the skin tone evens out. Because basically what frequency separation does is it separates the color layer from the texture layer. So this gray layer over here is just the texture, and the layer underneath it is just skin tone. So together they look normal, but you can obviously now blur the skin tone more by editing the bottom layer, you know. Makes sense? We're going to go over everything with a mixer brush also, because I chose a picture of me with like really bad skin and like just the worst picture ever, so that I can really show you guys all the different things that you would be able to use in retouching. For me, it's healing brush, mixer brush, and this frequency separation. There was a very big clear difference between the skin tones. I don't know if you noticed, but yeah, they're there also. Just like, I don't know, it smooths things out. Okay, especially like I like going over some of these lines with this, because then it makes the lines less, you know. Like look at this. But you can't make it too much, because you know the texture of the line is still there. So if you do it too much, it's just gonna look weird. But if you do it just the right amount, you get it right to basically just make that. You see, just make it less, and then we'll come over with a mixer brush now and make it even less. I feel if you're going to Photoshop your selfie, you know, people are going to know it's Photoshopped anyways. So why just not go crazy? But I guess if you want to keep it natural, just think about what I'm doing and don't do the things that will make you look plastic, okay? Because, so in other words, don't do the mixer brush step fervently. Like, just do a little bit of it maybe, but consider not like skipping the mixer brush step completely. That's going to be the step after this, because that is going to bring a lot of fakeness into all of this, for sure. The fake way of retouching shit. But this is the legit how to do it like a photographer kind of way, you know. So don't worry about this step. This step, go crazy on it, because you can't fuck with the texture. So you know, not much you can fuck up, except for if you go like over your mouth, except for if you did something like this. That's weird, you know. But just don't do something stupid. That's all. Okay, I think that's it. Okay. See. Yes. Okay. So let's just see. It's okay. See, the skin tone is much more matte and evened out. So like, it looks better. Looks much better. Right. So the next step, I'm gonna make a clean new layer, and what we're gonna do is go right click on your brush, say mixer brush tool. Okay. You want to immediately bring this flow guy down to about 15%, I think. Yeah, right around there. You don't want to be on 50. Make it 20. Alright. Well, somewhere between 15 and 20. Okay, we'll test it now. You want to take the load off. You want to keep it to clean. We don't want any color for this. We want it to only pick up the color underneath it, and you want to say sample layers for sure. Otherwise, it won't be drawing anything. So what it's going to do is it's going to sample. Basically, if you know anything about traditional art, right, this is the same as using a blender stick while drawing. You know, you get these clean white sticks. And when you're drawing with pencil and charcoal and traditional mediums, right? I don't know if everybody does this, but this is part of my process in traditional drawing. You make a line and you kind of shade the line and start drawing the gradient, but to smooth that out, you use this white stick that looks like it's made out of tightly rolled paper, kind of, you know, and then it has like a tip, like a pencil, but there's nothing coming out of it, you know, it's just white, okay? And then you go over these areas and you smoothen them. It blends, it like picks, so yeah, it doesn't deposit anything, it just blends. And in digital drawing, I know in the app Autodesk, there's the same kind of tool, and in Painter or Painter 10 or something like that, there's a different app that I also use that has the same kind of tool. You always get these blender kind of tools. So this is like a blender. This is basically a blender if you use it the way I'm using it, but you could be using it for, see, that's the thing with Photoshop, is all of Photoshop's tools are set up in a way that you can literally, I hate using the word literally so much. I fucking feel like I'm lame, and I'm not. Maybe a little bit. Maybe I'm a little bit millennial, you know. I don't know. Anyways, thing about Photoshop is most of its tools and filters are set up in a way that you can really be creative with the way you end up using them. You're not stuck using them in one particular way always. Like it's very open to interpretation, and especially if you come at the program not knowing anything and you just try and use logic to figure the program out, because that's kind of how I got to know Photoshop. That's kind of how I got into Photoshop. When I started doing Photoshop, when I started using it, I used CS3 and that's so long ago. And there was like we only had 500 megs of data per month, our whole family, of internet time. Like that was our cap. So like if you know anything, you can't even watch 2 YouTube videos with 500 megs, man. Like I don't know. So we had to keep that data for school projects and like Wikipedia, you know, like no videos and very little pictures, only pictures if necessary, but we kept it for like searching text based things, okay, for school projects and stuff, or I did at least. And so I wasn't able to watch any tutorials. I started playing around with Photoshop. How old was I? I was about 18. It was like my last year of school, and my brother still had a few years of school, and I helped him with all these school projects also. So yeah, there was no YouTube tutorials for me to watch, and basically what I did to try and understand this program, because listen, it's hella intimidating, especially back then when they didn't simplify things and you just have this interface, and now like, and then what then, like what now, what are you supposed to do with this? I was lucky in the regard that in my very early adult years and preteen years, I dated 2 different photographers, and I loved watching them work, because like photography and Photoshop and stuff was always something that fascinated me. So I kind of picked up the basics of Photoshop from them. Basics from the one, and then a little bit more about editing and like layers and stuff from the other one. So yeah, but so I did have that kind of to start me off with. Yeah, you see what I meant with like this is going to be the layer that makes everything look hella fake. So I'm just keeping a little bit of texture here and there to keep a little bit of realism in it. But yeah, no, I'm going ham with the fucking smoothing out of shit for real. Let's see how it looks. I'll continue with my story now. So now if we group together all of the skin layers, let me do this. Oh, it's so much better. So one more thing I do want to do, and that is just bring down the saturation so that some like my nose that's generally more red and stuff, and everything can just be toned out a little bit more. Just bring it down slightly, not too much. Yeah, that's better. Okay. And that is it for part one, because see, we can go to the shadows and the highlights, but I use shadows and highlights in editing my photos the same way I would use contouring and concealer and highlighting in real life with makeup, if I was doing my makeup. I Photoshop the same way I would do makeup, in other words. So I feel like the shading and the highlights is part of the makeup session. So, but we're gonna start this next part off with that. So there's all of this is then called part one. Let's call this part one. Okay. Right. So how I do my shadows and highlights is I prefer using curves just because okay. I'm gonna take it from the center and drag it down like right about to there, and then you're gonna make sure that you have the mask selected, and you say Control I to invert the mask and hide everything. Okay. And we're going to go to B. Remember when you go to your brush to select your normal brush again, because we have the crazy brush selector. What's going on here? I have something. Oh shit, what did I press? Okay. Whoa, that's cool. So if you press tab, it'll hide the things around it, and then if you're a painter, that's hella cool. That's something new I learned. Oh, when I'm doing the hair, this is going to be so cool. Okay, that's great. I learned something new. Anyways, so you want to select a brush, but you want to make this brush very, very like, opaque and flow very light. Like, must be just. Okay, and you want to select the white color. And are we on it? No, we're not even on the soft round brush. All right. Now we just see that's still too dark, too much black. So I'm gonna just like bring it down a little bit more. Okay, that's better. So the thing about this is, the smaller the increments in which you change things, the better the end result. Does that make sense? So one thing that Photoshop for sure taught me is patience. Every artwork I don't have patience with and that I rush through ends up not even going onto social media. And I know people think I just don't do much and that's why you don't see much, but no, it's not the it's not the truth. I do things, but I'm very perfectionistic when it comes to my art. my designs, and I'll never show something unless I'm 100% happy with it and I feel like showing it off, you know. So we're just gonna go over areas that I would have naturally, and if you overdo it a little bit, it's okay. We're gonna bring it down slightly, the entire layer's opacity. So don't worry too much about that. I want to just lighten that up a little bit. It's too dark for me now. Okay. Start that. Alright. Underneath the jaw, as I would. Obviously it's way too harsh still, but now imagine if you did like harsh increments, right? Then it would have been even worse. So even small increments, you build. It's a building process. So this to me is good. So yeah, about 50%. Okay, and then we're gonna do the same, but just do the different, like, to the opposite side. So upwards and to the same, around about the same spot, and Control I while having the mask selected. Same brush. Now we're just gonna go over areas that we want to highlight. So areas that I would put so much concealer on, like I would cake that shit. And I cake it even in Photoshop. Yes. On the tip of the, like, bridge of the nose, the eyes, even out the eyes, underneath the eyes, bags, and around this line, over here. I always have, while I'm using my brush, I always have my fingers on my shortcuts for making the brush larger and smaller. You'll see my brush going bigger and smaller a lot in between strokes, like there it goes again. So I will always be customizing the size that I need. Don't try and force a big brush into a small area. Don't try and cover a big area with a small brush. Yeah, those are two things that never end up giving good end results. So, yeah. Let's see. Let's go Z. Press the wrong button. Z. And I feel like it's a little bit too harsh, but not too much. Yeah. There we go. It looks good. That looks good. So that is basically foundation that's done now. This entire section, along with part 1, is what I would call foundation, concealer, and contouring. Right. So let's go to doing some cool makeups. How I do makeup is really only using the soft light layering system, basically. Okay, so what that means is, just delete these two. So basically what that means is, when you say, I have a shortcut for making new layers on, set to one of my buttons on my tablet. Okay, so when you make a new layer, you can set here the mode already. If you don't do it when you make the new layer, you can always go set it there. Right. Now, I'm gonna do something. What are we gonna do makeup wise, guys? Let's play with some pinks and purples. I like pinks. I love pink colors on my eyes and stuff. So let's do some pinkish things. Let's see. You can bring this opacity up slightly, but not too much, and the flow also, but not too much. I'm completely just winging it. There's no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing right now. The same way I do makeup usually. No real rhyme or reason. Like, let's see what works, you know? Yeah. So, I brought the opacity down again. I keep on doing that often with layers. Because I often make them way too dark. Because I've not been patient enough. Another one. Add some more purple in this space. But now, as you can see, the entire mess looks kind of, it needs some differentiation between, yeah, it needs some highlights and lowlights. Okay, so this time I'm going to make a new layer, but I'm going to put it on overlay. Overlay is very similar to soft light, but packs a bit more punch. So areas that I would put a bright kind of shade of makeup on, I'm gonna, the same way I would delete some areas with doing makeup, I'm gonna do the same here. And then we're gonna go to a darker color. Love that. I'm gonna group this whole bunch together, and we're gonna make a layer or a layer mask. I'm gonna use black, and we're gonna use the same brush. Ooh, oh, that was loud in my ears. Same brush we've been using, and we're just gonna tidy it up a little bit. Oh my gosh, don't even need makeup remover. Brought the whole group's opacity down to 76%, just to make it look a little bit more like makeup. Yeah, for the skin to shine through a little bit more. Yeah. Okay, so now next it's gonna be eyeliner and brows. So for eyeliner, we're gonna pick a color straight from there. Okay, make it slightly darker, but not black, because black is gonna stand out, like it's gonna be obvious that it's black, and we don't want that. So we're gonna use a 1-to-1 that has pressure, size, and pressure, size, and flow. Let's see if I can make it into a flow thing. I'm gonna learn something new. That's sketchy. Ha! There we go. There we go. Okay. I want to almost save this one actually while I'm here. Please save this brush. Good. Can I save how it is right now? Fuck yeah! There we go. I want that. There we go. Okay. Alright. Much smaller. I can't draw that way. My hand doesn't draw that way, so if you're like me and you struggle drawing to a certain direction, do what I'm gonna do and just flip your whole canvas. So canvas, image, rotation, horizontally, there we go. Flip it back later. Alright. So now we have an island. But we can bring all of this up. But that's too much. Alright. Let's line this page. We'll also do some nice lashes for me. Fuck, I'm even worse at lining in Photoshop than I am in real life. Like, I didn't think that possible, but apparently it is. Shit, son. Can we come to some place of arrangement here? Eyebrow guy. Eyebrow god. Eyebrow whoever is gonna help me with this, but can we maybe just find some place of agreement on how this thing should look? Yeah? Can we do that? Okay. Here we go. Let's make it much thinner for the edge. There we go. Not too bad. Yeah? Yeah? I don't think that's... I don't know. I feel like I want to put it on a different layer right there. Yeah, so let's keep it on hard light, okay? I'm going to flip my canvas back and do the other eye. Jeez. Make it look kind of similar to the other. Obviously. Okay, so there we go. Yeah. Mine are done. Now for lashes, we're gonna turn her back again to like we're gonna flip her again because again I can't make little curls to like, I can't do that, but I can do this. No, you don't believe me, but it's true. Okay, lashes we're gonna do with a special brush. I'm gonna do it with one of my hairbrush thingies. Alright, and I'm gonna take this one. It's 2. I'm gonna bring this way up because I want to get it right enough. Can't can't really explain to you how I'm doing this. All you can do is watch my motions and go practice. Like, that's how I learned. Oh, back to the how I learned. So I couldn't do tutorial. I couldn't. Tutorials wasn't something that was in my reach. So what I did was I went to Adobe's website. They did have a website back then already, and I went and downloaded their manual, Adobe CS3's manual. That's what I did, and I studied the manual. And look, they don't tell you really how, they don't explain to you how to use any of the tools. They just tell you what they are. And like, okay, so this is the brush tool. This is like, it will be like brush tool. Okay. And then brush tool has these functions, right? And if you right click while having brush tool, you can access these. So it just tells you how to use, the technical things, but it doesn't tell you, okay, so if you're making a picture and you want to turn it into like a drawing, you can't just use the render fucking, there's a picture fucking type of thing in the photo gallery, right? You can't just use that. No, you have to do this and that and this and that. They don't tell you that. Okay, so it's not a tutorial. It's just a manual. That makes any sense. So, but it helped me understand the tools that I was using so that I could, like, I don't know, I always feel like if I understand a tool, then I can use it. Like guitar and violin, if you understand it and understand how to use it, then if you're a creative person, you'll find a creative way of using it. Then it's just about practice and like, yeah. So I've always just felt like, just give me a thing and the user manual, and then I'll find my way. Okay, eyebrows. Eyebrows are going to be using the same brush. We want to eye drop like the darkest color in my brows, basically. And like, can you not fuck out? Oh my god, I hate it when this. Oh, goodness. Okay, you stop, guys? Because all I'm trying to do is just. Okay, I think I have that color though. Okay. So now we just, oh no, we definitely don't. I just want to zoom in close now because I literally want to grab that color over there. Let's see what color is over there. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Alright, now we can go on. Okay, so now we're just gonna fill this brow of mine. We're just gonna fill it. Again, I can't draw to that side, so I'm just gonna flip it again. And yeah, that's how I started learning Photoshop, but don't think that made me any fucking expert by any fucking means. Oh no, oh jeez. Told this story before, but I realized when I was editing the video, I kind of just started telling it and I never finished telling it. So I had some mentors. So I went straight to DeviantArt right after learning all of this. Like, this one girl told me about DeviantArt and she's like, you should go there, you'll like it. If you like social media and you like art, you'll like it. So I did, and I did like it, but started posting my photo manipulation things, quote unquote, onto this site, and very quickly people started telling me what I'm doing wrong and not at all what I'm doing right. So deduction made was not doing anything right. No, not doing anything right. Basically just doing wrong. Alright, so need to learn more? Okay, cool. Luckily, I'm quite a humble person when it comes to things like this, and I understand learning and understand the cycle of things. I understand things take time, and I understand that there's steps and processes to everything. No matter who you are, no matter what you're, the steps are the steps. So yeah, I understood this. Can't just come in and be like be queen. No. So I asked a few people if they would mind like helping me and giving me critiques every now and then when I'm doing some work and putting it on. Just tell me what I'm doing wrong and explain to me how to fix it. And that way I'll get better is what I told them. And they were kind of impressed a little bit, I guess, because not in my experience, not a lot of people on DeviantArt really is good with that mentality, or like newbies are good with that mentality. Like some of them, they want critique, but then when you give them the critique, then they're quite upset about the critique because the critique wasn't like praise. But that's something different. Anyways, I was willing to listen to the fucking harsh critiques. And okay, quick side note, we're gonna do the lipstick. Lipstick is gonna be done exactly the same way as eyeshadow with overlay and soft light. So just keep an eye on what I'm doing. My story, guy. Crazy lips. Crazy lips. Okay, like crazy lips. Okay, so it was so motivating though, because I'll spend so fucking much time on making this picture, and then I run to them and I'm like, oh look, I took all your previous advice and I did something better, and then they're like, nah. You see, I think this one is actually worse than the previous one. So I don't actually think you listened to anything I said. And I would be like, oh my god, no way. Like, dude, those people were brutal with me. Oh, I remember this one. Like, there was this one specifically that I felt like, did this one so well. She was like crying blood and had nice shading, and the blood ripples came down and drew some blood, and oh my god, and it was one of the first blood attempts I did. It was so bad. I get why they said it, because like there wasn't real dimension to it, and it seemed very copied from something 1,010,000 other people has done before. It wasn't original, and there was not real compositional factors to it, and I just got it. Okay, it's fine. But fact of the matter is that drove me to like become I just wanted to get better and get to the point where these people like kind of see me as one of them. These people who have been mentoring me can see me as one of them, and I did get there. I was eventually one of the fellow mentors in the project. Yes, bitch, looking pretty. Okay, so that's that from makeup. Oh, and then some blush. Let's just add a little bit of rouge. Like a nice rouge color and soft light. But my point that I want to get across is that, listen, you need to hear what the bad things about what you're doing to understand what to do better. Like, I don't know how to bring that home better than that, but if you want to do things, and I'm always willing to work with people, but I'm gonna tell you what you're doing wrong, and I'll try and tell you what you're doing right, but in the beginning there might not be anything you're doing right, so that's something that I had to like actually come to understand in this whole thing. In the beginning when they were giving me critiques, I felt like, but you know, you're just telling me like you did this and did this and you did this, but I feel like it wasn't that bad and it is an improvement. Why aren't you giving me any compliments? Because you don't deserve them yet. Like there's nothing to compliment yet, and I know you want to get that validation, but believe me, the validation is so much sweeter if you just like wait for it until you earned it. Because I can give you validation all day long, but you know, it might not be genuine if you're trying to force it out of me. Okay, so now I just want to just do a little bit of color things on my eyes. I'm gonna make my eyes like just pop a little bit more with the color that it already has in it naturally. Again, we're gonna make a new layer and we're gonna put it this time on overlay straight up. All right. So I'm not gonna. I wanted to make it a different color first, but then I thought about it and I was like, nah, it's more like this, like that. Yeah, that's. So we desaturated everything in the beginning, right? Remember, to kind of help with the foundation and skin tone look. So this is basically just putting it back. Some of the color saturation. And then some like more goldenish. We'll delete that little part. Right. Yeah, there we go. Okay. That's very, very close to my real eye color, like just a little bit more intensified, I guess. But that's basically what my real eyes look like. Okay, so now this is part 2 done. Part 2, yeah, part 2. Yes, I had to think so hard about it. I'm gonna take just the smallest, quickest break, and then let's call this part 2, and then we'll start with part 3, which will be painting the hair. Okay, definitely I had to take a break before we start this because this is the most time consuming part. I'll probably fast forward through a lot of bits of it because there's only so much I can teach you yet. Um, Again, this is one of those things where you kind of have to watch me do what I'm doing. I just noticed something. These eyes are going over the edge slightly. There we go. Just noticed that. Okay. Anyways, so I have a process, and I'll explain to you every step, kind of what this step is. But that's as much as I can do. Basically, I start with a fairly dark tone in the color range that I'm going to work in, which is going to be this color range. I'm so used to working with this color range when it comes to painting hair. As you saw, I very easily like pick it out on the spectrum. Like, so I usually go to something that's about 3/4 down. And we start with, in this brush set that we have of hair, right? We start with this one. So this one looks like, let's see if I can show you different picture of it. Show tip. There we go. Okay, so the tip looks like that, right? That one. That one. We're using that one. And you want to make everything 100%. Right. Okay. And this is just going to be drawing the shape of the hair, basically. Not really, don't really know how to differently explain that, but this is just making the shape, right? So let's do it. it's okay to go over some areas because you can always kind of like, you can always bring it back. So you can always delete stuff. Wrong button. Does not like it when I use that. By the way, I like making my hair this color in real life also. As you can see in the picture, the remnants of what once was some blue color like this is still in my hair. The original of this. It has like a little bit of a blue tint. Okay, let's just look how yeah, it's gonna end up looking fairly. Okay, so now I'm gonna use the same brush, but we're gonna make it much smaller, and then we're gonna go zoom in, like you saw me zooming in more. So I'm gonna just like refine it slightly. Some of the refining comes with later layers, but I do like getting some of the strandiness of it in already. Yeah, I'm just making this. As you can see, this brush on a large scale has a very soft edge, but on a small scale the edge is like just like hair. So yeah, we're just edging it. That sounded bad. You know what edging is? Oh god. Oops. Okay. Your hands eventually get used to drawing the wavy shapes of hair in one go, because the best, as you can see, is to get them in one go. Like this has a less nice finished effect than just getting them in like longer strands, you know. But yeah, that's something my hands eventually got accustomed to. It's the same as when you start drawing and you use like digital drawing and you use a little Wacom tablet that's next to you instead of, oh shit, that's why we have to press tab. I knew tab was gonna come in fucking handy. Oh my god, yes. Making progress in life. Anyways, so I'm gonna just do this. Yes. So what was I busy saying? I'm so stoned. I can't do this. I can't be patient enough to do this if I'm not stoned enough. I'm really sorry, but like, and then if I'm too stoned, then I struggle talking because I space out like a motherfucker. Like, posted this meme on my WhatsApp status a couple of days ago of if you're calling me or my friend, like it says, it's a meme that says at the top, it says my friend, why are you not answering when I'm calling? And then there's a picture of a grandma on the floor crawling with her face down on the floor underneath it, and then it says me 20 bong rips later because I'm vibing and I can't get up. So true. It's so fucking true. I get lost. Get completely lost. So right now I'm a bit lost, but this is an autopilot kind of process. So okay, press that. There we go. Okay. that's it for, wrong button again, I keep on pressing Q instead of Z. Okay, so that's it for the hair shaping. Yes. Okay, now you make a new layer. You go slightly darker to about 90% darkness there at that side, right? You're going to use the same brush, but we're going to put it on like 50% opacity, right? 50% there. And the same with flow, like down, right there. Okay, and we're going to make it bigger. And now we're going to just like draw in. We're going to kind of place out the shape of what's going on here for ourselves. Because never mind the outer shape, but like, you know, there's like this inner shape that has to happen also. So make that go back there. The only reason why I'm doing it like this is it's very close to a way that I've worn my hair recently. Yeah, so it's gonna make sense, you know. It's gonna make sense. I know, because my hair has been like this before, so I'm drawing it. So you see, I'm basically drawing the shadows of the, you know, let's go back to top, because this is really handy. That keeps on happening to me very often when I'm drawing, because I keep on going outside of the frame because I'm drawing really big strokes at a time, and obviously that's annoying as fuck. So I'm really happy they brought this new little way of doing things in. I don't know if it's been here. People are probably going to be telling me, oh, it's been there for a while, bitch. Yeah, well, I only just noticed it, so if it has been around for a while, oops. Well, better late than never, I always say. Yeah. Alright, so something like that. Something like this. Yeah, something. No, not cute. Like that. And then see. And then, okay, let's see. Alright. So now you have an idea of what you're going to be coloring. Okay, so the next step is to start doing the lighter and lighter layers. Okay, so we're going to say new layer again, and then we go up with this thing. We're going to go, now we're going to start going a little bit to the desaturated side, because we don't want that. We don't want that. Okay? Somewhere we'll add a little bit of this, but that's too extreme. Okay, I want everything but that. So I wish I knew how to technically explain these things. Maybe one day when I get into this again a bit more and stuff, maybe I'll find a way. Okay, so we're just gonna go up, because look, this color was there, so just like slightly up from there, and we're going to use a different brush this time. Show me the tips also, thank you. I'm going to use a different one. We're going to use that one. Alright, and we're going to lower it. The flow is okay, but just this. Now this is a motion that you do to get the look of hair. Okay, it's a sweepy windshield wiper kind of motion, and you basically sweep. You start by pressing somewhere in the middle of where your area that you're going to work on is, right? And you sweep to that side, and you start there, and you sweep to that side, and this is something I figured out makes it, doing this imitates kind of the way hair looks. There's so many different techniques to, like, before I figured this out, this is something I completely figured out by myself, by the way. I watched so many tutorials on drawing hair, and I watched and read so many tutorials on it, but I tried all of them, but you know, like, I don't know, with me, I'm one of those weird people. Even in school, I can do really well with some things, but it needs to click into place for me. So I need to find a way that it kind of resonates with me as a person, so that my brain can absorb it actually. Otherwise, it's kind of lost on me. Like, some people try and talk to me sometimes and tell me stories, and I feel bad because sometimes afterwards, like even a year, years, even maybe months, weeks, sometime, afterwards, I'll be thinking about what these people were trying to maybe explain to me at that point. And just because of the way they were telling it to me, it didn't resonate with me, and I completely missed everything. But thinking back about it now, because I found a different way to take the same kind of information in, or life found a way to hand me the same information but in a different way. Now I understand it, and I'm like, oh, dude, if you just like actually taught me this, I would have been like, oh, that's cool. But I'm weird in that way. So the same thing happened with me when I was trying to understand how to digitally draw hair. Watched everybody's fucking tutorials on it, especially the digital drawing ones, because I felt like those guys know the best out of everybody. That's the closest to what I wanted to achieve. So what they were achieving. So I went and looked a lot of those. But the only thing that I watched that actually helped me on figuring this out was somebody who showed the same steps that I'm using now. They didn't use the same kind of technique with their hand, like the windshield wiping thing when drawing, because I couldn't see that because it was like a written tutorial. But it showed that you start by like blocking out where you want to put the hair, and then you put a little bit of darkness in first to kind of to show yourself where you want to color and where you want to make the strands go. And then you start by doing the first strand layer, which is what I'm doing now. So I wish I remember. I can go find it, but it's basically exactly what I'm teaching you now. So there was this one tutorial written, small little A4 written tutorial that kind of helped me, because I was like, okay, that seems like a lot of effort, but something about that process speaks to me. And let's I don't know, I did try all of them, but that one just stuck, and I'm still doing it that way still to today. To me, it's just the best way of painting. There's so many like hairbrush stamps. What that is, a hairbrush stamp or a brush stamp is basically, say, if I were to do, okay, let me just make one quickly. Define brush preset. There we go. Okay. So, because, right. So because this is it's a brush, but it's a brush of an image. It comes out looking like a stamp. Let me just X the colors. It comes out looking like a stamp. So that's what I mean when I say brush stamp, okay? So there are many of these brush stamps out there for hair. But, I don't really care for any of them. It just doesn't look natural. It just doesn't look natural. It looks shitty. It looks because you can't. Hair strands it's something. Hair strands are something that are different every fucking time. Every single fucking strand, and every time the strand lands somewhere, every image of the strand, unless you styled it with hella gel and hella freaking, even then in every picture is going to be different, because that's just the nature of hair. Hair's a like thing on its own, it has a life of its own. I feel even my natural hair has a life of its own most days. No matter how hard I try to style it, just does what it does. So hair being that way, I don't understand, and it doesn't make sense to me, and it comes out looking shitty to me when people try and use hairbrush stamps, because basically what a hairbrush stamp is somebody cut hair out, a piece of hair out, so like, like somebody, this is not real hair, but obviously now they took that bit and then you just you just stamp it everywhere and you try and make it natural looking. But how can you, when there's a repetitive pattern happening? I feel patterns, yeah, sure, it is something that happens in nature, but it's something that happens very inconspicuously in nature. Something that happens very subtly in nature, and more at a microscopic and a smaller level than, and then again at a very large level, but not at our scale really that much, so there is pattern in what I'm doing. If you zoom in, there's going to be a lot of pattern in what I'm doing with using a single brush or a couple of brushes to make all of these strands. So there will be a repetitiveness in a certain way, but also not, because that's I don't know, that's the beauty of nature. Nature has this beautiful way of marrying randomness and patterns together, in unpredictable ways. And here is a very natural thing to me, in the way I see it, the way I understand it. And I feel like any subject matter, to really be able to imitate it or paint it or represent it well, you need to understand your subject matter. And I feel hair is a very natural thing in the sense that it has pattern to it, but also not. It does, but like if you have curly hair, a lot of your curls are going to look similar, but none of them are going to look exactly the same. So you can't use a stamp of one of them to try and make all of them. That's what I'm saying. There's this random beauty of it that you, to accurately portray it, this is the way. And this is the long way, this is the hard way. But I mean, I'm going to zoom out for you now and you'll see it's the only way, in my opinion. So let me show you. You can already start seeing that it's making, like, getting there. Right, so we started with this. Okay, now we're gonna go one touch lighter, and this time we're gonna use the other one, this one, because we're gonna go smaller. Same process, but we're not going to cover the entire area. This time we rather want to start bringing the highlights in. Like, I don't know, you build on the low lights, and you build on the shadows towards these beautiful natural highlights that hair should have, even if it's colored, just because of the way light reflects off it and the way that it's lined. So what I'm doing now is bringing more like individualized strands in, especially around the edges. Like, this is where we refine the edges a little bit more, Okay, and then we're gonna put some shine on this. Give all of this some dimension because we have the texture there now. So we're gonna clean all of this up in a bit. Don't worry. Oh, my back is starting to kill me. Okay, so there we go. We're gonna use this one. We're gonna use it on like full stuff. This is gonna be weird, but just go with it, okay? Just go with it. Everywhere, like I feel like there's gonna be a natural shine to the hair. Oh no, that's the wrong button. And then we're gonna go to, I wonder where it is these days, the smudge tool, and we're gonna use this same brush. Oh, we can use that one. No, let's use the same one. At 50% strength, and make it slightly smaller. Let's just up the strength. No, not 100% strength. That's a bit too much. About 75. Yeah. And you swipe, doing the windshield wiper swipe motion, right? Just, yeah. Just smudge it up and down, look like a shine, basically. Make it fit the shape that you made by like using your swiping motions. Right, now duplicate that layer, right, hide the one that you just made because you're going to want a copy of that, and we're going to set this one to overlay, and we're going to Gaussian blur it. So for me that's Control Q. Bring it down, and then this one that you made. Again overlay, bring it down like there. No Gaussian blur, just a straight up shine, you know. Just can bring it down a little more like that. Alright. Wonder if soft light would like, yeah, soft light on that one. And then hard light, overlay on the other two. And then we want to make a shadow layer and clean up a little bit of the rest. Okay, so let's group all of these together. Okay, that's hair. Okay. Let's clean up the hair first a little bit. So let's mask that, and by using that brush, I'm gonna just some of it to look a little bit neater. The shadows I'm gonna put in now should bring it all together. That was the longest pause ever. I literally I paused and had to go fetch, like pick up my package from a posting outlet type place, right? And then I went over to my boyfriend's to go unbox my package because I got something hella rad. I got myself a vape pen for THC. Oh fuck yes. And just got some shatter also for him to smoke like while he plays games and stuff. And I had a bit of a smoking session with him, and here I am now. So fucked. But we're almost at the end, so it's just a small little push. Right, so to do the shadows, right, we're gonna use a normal soft round brush, but we're just gonna harden it like for 25%. And we're gonna bring this shit down like way much. Okay, like about that much. And then we're gonna put this on multiply. Ooh, still way too harsh. Jesus. That's better. Okay. And we just can be a little bit more hard actually. Still too soft because look, the further a shadow is away from our object, the softer the shadow. But the closer the object, the harder the shadow. So these shadows, we're not making them from a mile away. They're just on the face. So, you know, they can't be these very soft shadows. They have to be a little bit hard. That's what she said. Lol. Alright, and yeah, you're just basically gonna, because it doesn't have to be super accurate, but just to shade underneath all of these, especially over here. Make it slightly bigger on here, like that part, because that looked very out of place. Now it doesn't anymore. Shade that. Right. Okay, now on this side. So over here, not on the nose. Just tip up the nose maybe. Definitely the mouth somewhere. There. So over there. Obviously fall into these little parts also. And then definitely that part. I'm really just trying to think about it in a logical fashion, you know, from where the light source is coming, which is over there. Yeah, makes sense, right? Okay, see. It looks much better. Yes, you want to see without. See, without it looks like it's just plastered on. With it gives it like, it tells you where it is. So that's better for sure. Now we're gonna do part 4, which is like the filters and After Effects and stuff. Okay, so let's do this, right? Underneath the hair, because I don't want any of the hair to be blurred, right? So let's hide the hair, and underneath the hair, to make this blur thing, so that we have a layer where this background is being used, press Control Alt Shift E, right? That makes a new little stamp there, and then say Filter, Blur Gallery, Iris Blur, okay, and then we're just gonna move this guy up a little bit so that my face is selected. There we go. Now we can see the blur actually. So you can basically just like edit all of this by telling it like how blurred, like how much feather want you blur to have, and how much blur around there should be. but things are going to be hidden by the hair, so turn it slightly, turn it more like this. Yes, okay. And then so that just like kind of separates the background a little bit. I like that, but with the hair on top, you know, it's back to kind of normal. And just to like get rid of this blur on the clothes, because I only want it on the background, I'm gonna make a layer mask there, and I use my soft round brush to bring it all the way up and just clear this. So we want that to stay in focus. Okay, here we go. So then this just literally just blur the background, and that just brings the hair out a bit more, brings everything out a little bit more. Okay, now we want to bring everything together. So first and foremost, let's do a curves layer and just kind of color correct everything. Small changes, but it's just me bringing, taking the yellow out of my face, just bringing, it kind of tightens up everything color wise a little bit more. Then we're gonna do a black and white filter just to bring in some more contrast into certain areas, into the areas we want contrast in. So okay, well, definitely my eye. Lips and the pink can make it a little bit darker. This blue versus that blue, so that there's a lot of contrast in the hair. The green, also like that. And then the purple also darker. Right, and then we're gonna set this entire mission to soft light and just bring it down to like around here. Yeah, it can be a little bit more like, there we go. Just kind of brings a little bit more contrast, tiny bit more contrast, but so as not to make it look too irregular or weird, okay. Then one more color correction type layer, selective color. In this one, I'm going to work only on the whites, the neutrals, and the blacks. Excuse me. So the whites, I definitely want to bring up the cyan, so and the blue, that kind of shine. Then with the neutrals, I want to bring out the yellow a bit. No, we don't. Oh no, we don't. Also a little bit more blue, but maybe a little more purple. Yeah. Okay, and then the blacks. Let's see, I usually go a little bit red with the blacks, but not sure it's gonna work for this. See how this looks? Yo, that's a guy. There we go. Nice. And then we're gonna do a. I feel like I should do a couple of gradient maps, and then a couple, and then like a gradient and a solid color. So let's do that. I'm gonna do a gradient map. No, a gradient map. I love these color settings, but like, okay, so let's go there. Like that. And you bring it down like a lot, like 90. So this is really just a plain type of thing, and you'll you have to kind of go with what looks nice, but there's so many different options. Just keep on scrolling through the options and then use all of these ones here at the bottom for that looks hella cool also, like just on a very low. That looks cool. Oh yes, I like that. Oh, I love that. Okay, and so great. What a gradient map does is, as you saw, is it kind of sticks to the picture. It maps the picture, and gradient gives that a gradient. Whereas a gradient, as you'll see, let's just pick one of these things, right? Let's go for that one, right? And I like a radial. There we go. That is so as we're just a normal gradient layer doesn't map to the picture, so it just like gives an overall kind of thing, right? Okay, so you get that. Okay. And then I'll do one or two solid colors. So solid color layer is basically exactly what it says, a solid color layer. This is kind of cool. See how that turns out. Yeah, I like that. That's kind of cool. And then I like doing just a normal brownish kind of sepia kind of thing usually on okay, and then I'm going to do one layer just to sharpen up the features that can be sharpened up. So we're going to again say Control Shift Alt E to create this little stamp over here, and go to others, other filter, other high pass. Okay, now you just want to be able to see the outline real nicely, like nicely defined, the features that you want to bring out. Now you can go either with overlay or soft light. Overlay is a little bit more HDR than soft light. I don't know if you can see me moving between two different options even, but I'm going to go with the overlay. So I look at my eye and you'll see, and the texture around my eye, yeah, it just brings in a little bit of sharpness again to just bring some realism back to it. I forgot to show you, this is the entire steps difference. So it really just ties the image together. That's what we did with part 4. Okay, and if you want to see the whole progress, let's do that. Right, okay, so we started with this. We did the face first. That was part 1. And we had part 2. Makeup. And then we had part 3, which was hair. Then we had part 4, which was like finishing touches. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be making many more things like this. So subscribe to my channel, like the video, share it, show your friends, try it, let me know if there's anything specific you would like me to show you. Yeah, enjoy.